This is the most productive thing that you could ever do to increase your overall productivity on a day-to-day basis. So, if a lot of you guys are like me, my phone is the constant bottleneck of what is holding me back and taking away my time from focusing on my main thing, right? So I did an experiment where I took off all the limits on my phone that I talked about in my previous video series on how to kind of fix any social media or like phone addiction, and tested to see how long it would take me to get re-addicted to using my phone and social media and all this, and then putting the parameters back in place. So I just did this today, and we'll see how it goes moving forward, but I will tell you what I've noticed on the first day of doing this. So when I say lock your phone now, what do I mean? So for me, there are a couple of key things that I usually would waste time on my phone, and that would mainly be Chrome. I would use Chrome to either watch, like YouTube videos or TV shows, movies, anything like this. And then obviously social media. So I've been going on Marketplace to try to find some supplies that I need for my studio and just other things. And then you get caught in the scrolling, right? The algorithm kind of catches you while you're waiting for responses from other people. You're on your phone. And then also just checking emails, right? So it's chronically just kind of switching between the apps just to see if anything is updated. Or just you just turn on your phone just to check if you have any notifications. So for me, those are the main things that I would do that would take up a lot of my time on my phone. Other things for other people could be, just like scrolling social media, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case, right? Dating apps, perhaps, games on your phone, anything like this. But our phone is always on us. Therefore, it is the biggest thing that can distract us. So let's break down the math. Let's say on average, you're in bed, you're getting 8 hours of sleep, that's dialed in. So we have 16 hours to kind of mess around with and see how we can use that throughout the day. Depending where you're at, if you're a student or if you're working right now, let's say 8 of those hours are taken up by work, right? So now you really only have 8 hours left to figure out what you want to do. So now pause this video for a sec and go look at your screen time and let me know what it says. For me, it fluctuates between 4 hours to 8 hours, depending what I'm doing, which obviously is not good, right? Because that is a lot of time that we could be spending towards our main thing. We've already figured out that 8 hours, ideally, we should be sleeping. 8 hours is working or school or whatever obligations you have. And then if we have 8 hours the rest of the time on our phone, this is just taking up the rest of our lives. That is the time that we can be using to progress anything forward towards our main thing, whatever that is. So obviously, if you don't have a main thing, figure that out. That's like step 1. And then step 2 is to figure out how can we allocate more time towards the main thing and use discipline, right? So our definition for discipline is what do we need to remove, right? Discipline is a game of subtraction. Instead of adding in a bunch of things like, I need 5 more things in my morning routine or my evening routine. No, we just need to do the one main thing, and we need to get rid of the things that are taking away from us doing the main thing. Because that's the only thing that's going to move the needle forward for you. So what I've done going forward and what I recommend is anything that is taking away your time on your phone, try this out for 30 days, a month, or 7 days, whatever you can do reasonably to start off that you won't stop. So use an app like ScreenZen is the one I use, or you can use, app limits or screen time for iPhone, or I'm sure there's some equivalent to Android, and just block whatever it is that you're using just for the time to test it out. So if you're using Chrome, I completely blocked Chrome on my phone, which is my only search engine to search stuff up. And then any social media, completely blocked, 0 minutes. And then email is only during, working hours for me that I can check my email, and it's blocked the rest of the time. If you want to go even more extreme, you could turn your phone to grayscale. So it pretty much just makes your phone completely grayed out. You see no colors that are going to get your brain to want to keep engaging. And all of a sudden doing all this, you pretty much turn your phone into a brick that you can only communicate with people through either texting or, calling, and just maybe some limited apps. I got chess.com for 10 minutes on my phone where I'll, do a couple puzzles or something on the free plan. Whatever the case, right? I'm not saying go completely crazy and just block everything, because at that point, why even have a phone, right? But I am saying to test out blocking the things that are using up 4 to 8 hours of your time. That is a reasonable thing to maybe, kind of sort of think about eliminating if you want to have 4 to 8 hours back of your time to actually progress things forward. If you're not happy with where you're at, why would you not be allocating that time towards moving the needle forward on whatever your main thing is? So there are different ways you can do it. I like to do like a schedule block. So I have a little bit of time in the evening where I can use Chrome to search different things up, different questions I had throughout the day. But majority of the things you should be using your laptop for. Like I said, if you've never done this at all before, I recommend just like cold turkey. Don't give yourself any time in the evening. Just block it for like 7 days and see how you're feeling. It'll be like a mental reset in a way for you, or a dopamine detox, whatever you want to call it, where all of a sudden you're going to have to get your dopamine from doing other things. And then the next level is your computer, right? Because inevitably, if you're not going to use your phone, you're going to be at your computer more. Ideally, your computer is where you're doing work. So this is where you want to be, and you can put similar systems in place to make sure you're not getting distracted, just watching YouTube or doing the same things on there. So I recommend, putting the same things that block it on your computer as well. So with ScreenZen, what I really like is you have the limited time blocks. So at this point right now, I give myself some time in the evening to kind of wind down before bed, maybe like 2 hours, where I can use the phone to, just like do whatever I want. That's what's cool about ScreenZen is you're able to have it blocked, for 22 hours of the day, but for 2 hours, you're able to use whatever, and then it reblocks on itself. You're also able to have different time limits. Let's say I wanted to only have one open for 10 minutes. You'd get like one open if it's an emergency for any of the apps and you needed to use it for whatever reason. You can set it up in a way that works like that. And the most important part is to get a passcode on these apps. So someone else has the passcode, obviously, so you can't just change it whenever it's inconvenient for you, because it won't work very well if you're just going to do that. So that is what I would recommend. If you haven't done it, full detox for at least 7 days. If you want to go longer the better. If you have done some of this, maybe give yourself a little bit of leeway in the evening. I find a bit of balance is best, so having a couple hours when you can, just watch whatever you want, relax, turn off your brain, as intentional downtime is important, and just program it this way. And if you're really extreme about this, turn your phone grayscale so your phone is gray, so it's going to be a lot less interesting to use. If you do all these things and turn your phone into a brick, essentially, that's also grayed out, you're not going to want to use it, I promise you. If there's nothing fun that you can do on your phone that you normally do, you're going to pick it up, you're going to look at it for a while, and you're going to be like, there's nothing I want to do on here, and you're going to inevitably do something else. Because your brain will always take the path of least resistance. So usually our phone is that path, but we've now eliminated our phone as a variable for the path of least resistance, forcing us to do something else, whether that be, go work out earlier, or get to our laptop and start working earlier. And this is what we want, right? It's just another step in the right direction. Because remember, for whatever you want to do, it's going to take so much longer than you initially think starting off. Remember, the hard part is not quitting for like 5 to 10 years and doing something every single day. Nothing's just going to happen for you. You're not going to get lucky and it's just going to work out. Because then you're relying on some like external locus of control to be able to make it happen for you. Which for 99.99% of people, that is just not the case. It's just a bad frame. Just get that out of your mentality. You're going to make it happen by doing it every single day and not stopping for 5 to 10 years. That is the most consistent, most reliable way to figure it out for 99.99% of people. So why would we want to base our strategy on such an outlier percentage chance of working when we could do what most people are doing to work, right? That makes the most sense. So for anything like bodybuilding, it's going to take 5-10 years to get really good at it, to figure it out, showing up all the time, figuring out all the nuance. And for business, it's going to take 5-10 years, to overcome a lot of limiting beliefs that you have about yourself, which are inevitably what are stopping you from growing the business, because your business is a reflection of you. Why aren't you making content, right? Probably because you fear the judgment of other people, right? You don't want other people to think a certain way of you. Maybe because you have certain insecurities, right? Like these are all very common in every entrepreneur starting off, and you have to slowly overcome these, and the longer you're in the game, the more these you're able to overcome. Because first, you have to realize what they are. This is how humans are. We question all our beliefs, except for the ones that we really believe in. And those we never think to question. And when you understand that, it's like, whoa, it's so true. Every belief you believe so fully that you never question are often the ones that you should question. And these are those statements that you give about yourself, like I'm the type of person. I'm the type of person who can't make content, or can't start a business, or can't get in shape. You give yourself these labels and put yourself in a box when in reality, you're just not that type of person because you don't believe you're that type of person. So I challenge you, question your beliefs around this. Maybe you are that type of person. You know how to become that type of person? You do the actions that that type of person would take. And then, you do that for long enough, then all of a sudden you are that person. And then for the next one. Business is just a game of figuring out these beliefs and just correcting them in yourselves by taking the action to overcome the limiting belief. Fear of rejection. You ask enough people for something, you get rejected by enough people that all of a sudden you don't fear it. You're waiting for it to be able to figure out how to help people overcome their own limiting beliefs, to move forward. So that's crazy. We question all our beliefs except for the ones that we really believe in. Those we never think to question. What are some of the beliefs that you truly believe that perhaps you need to question? With that being said, I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. Love you guys. And remember, take consistent action on your main thing and don't stop. Peace.